All right, here's an update to a story we've been talking about. This morning, 3 Columbia University deans are now on leave and officially removed from their teaching roles, accused of sending anti-Semitic text messages during a panel about the threats facing Jewish students on campus. In one of the exchanges, one of the accused deans, using the queasy and vomit emojis while referring to a campus rabbi's op-ed, her colleague responding, quote, "I'm going to throw up." Our next guest says this development is a good start, but far from enough. Columbia University student Jonas joins us right now. Jonas, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, when I saw the headline, I was thinking, oh, finally, Columbia is doing something about these anti-Semitic texts that we had heard about. But they're not doing much, are they? Right.
You know, this comes days after the text messages were initially released. And also, these administrators are still employed by the university. New reporting just came out that they're going to be shuffled around to different positions. So at the end of the day, there's a lack of accountability at this school, and the rot goes into the administration.
So, in other words, the university had to look like they were doing something. So they said, okay, we've taken these people who had these anti-Semitic texts, their words, and we're shuffling them around. So any real consequence to them?
No, there's no real consequence. And the dean of Columbia College, Joseph Surratt, he is fully in his position still. He's not being disciplined at all. He just had to issue an apology. And this is the same thing we see with the students. The student protesters who were arrested, their charges were all dropped by the Manhattan DA.
What do you have to do to get, in trouble at Columbia?
You have to do a lot, it seems like.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I understand, while a lot of the Jewish students who we have spoken to over the last number of months, they feel like we're happy we complained and there has been some action. But pro-Palestinian students and protesters say this is a witch hunt. This is unacceptable.
Right. This is exactly what they're saying after the news broke yesterday that these deans would be suspended. They're saying this is McCarthyism, this is a witch hunt, which I think is actually pretty ironic because these are the same protesters that are going after, quote unquote, Zionists on campus and saying we don't want no Zionist here, and trying to filter out their friend groups out of anyone who might be remotely pro-Israel. So it's really quite hypocrisy.
We've got a snippet of the quote that the university president put out yesterday. It said, "This incident revealed behavior and sentiments that were not only unprofessional, but also disturbingly touched on ancient anti-Semitic tropes, conveying a lack of seriousness about the concerns and the experiences of members of our Jewish community that is antithetical to our university's values and the standards we must uphold in our community." For your friends who are Jewish, do they feel like this is a victory, or they still feel unsafe on campus?
Well, what I'll say is that we've been covering this at the Columbia Sundial on campus, and they feel that this is a step in the right direction, yes, but it's not nearly enough. They expect accountability, and they expect these administrators to, at the very least, be dismissed from their positions. And, you know, going into the fall, the protesters are saying they're going to come back stronger. So we'll have to see if the administration acts.
Great. Let's see. All right. Because it is an election year and they're trying to influence Joe Biden, but he might not be around at that point. Jonas, we thank you very much for joining us live.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.